Questions on that? All right. Shelter in place. If something really bad happens, this would actually be a very good room for sheltering in place. If there was like a bomb, if someone like throws off some type of bomb or biochemical weapon, right? You'll get every radio station and every internet's going to be telling you shelter in place, right? So the first thing you do, make the decision: am I staying or going? Right? In fact, in any building in San Francisco, once you leave, you can't come back in. So after an emergency, figure out: am I staying or am I going? If you're staying, you're staying. If you're going, you're not coming back. Right? After Limo Parade, people would leave buildings here, and they couldn't get back in. Some people stayed, and sorry, flaw. So make that's another reason to forget about that. Never gonna have a kid here. So shelter in place. If it happens, decide what you're gonna do. Close the business. Turn off your HVAC systems. You don't want outside air coming in. Right? And you should go to assigned rooms. This is the ideal room because it's away from windows, it's above ground, you should be good. And then lock up and seal up. Go around vents, doors, etc. with some duct tape and some plastic bags. Start at the corners to hold it up, and go around the edges and seal it in. In these rooms, just a couple kits should be good. Most things will blow through within an hour or two. Besides, your air won't last much longer than anyway. But you should be good, and then you'll, of course, be able to call out. Call somebody out of state and saying, hey, I'm in this room, I got these people with me, because you lose it, right? Paperwork is terrible in these situations. People literally get lost in paperwork. That's how you do it. All right, finally, being informed, right? Staying agile. So I'm going to change the whole presentation to see how well do you know your city. Anyone know what this map is? Yes, it's San Francisco, but anyone know what these demarcation lines are? You can't see it. So I'll tell you, these are the fire districts. Okay. All right, now for the big questions. This is Noe Valley, and in the green we have, I think, the ladder companies, and in the red stars are the truck companies. But anyone know what these purple hexagon things might be?
Those circle things, the water?
Nope. But we will get back to that. So in every neighborhood there are emergency triage centers, right? Typically a park where there's not a school is usually a good rule of thumb, right? And if you live in a city, there would be CERT or NERT teams where you can go to get help, right? This is where you're going to go get your first aid response. This is where you're going to get triage centers. It's a good idea to find out where those are in your neighborhood. Right? Be the first one there, not last.
I think it would be nicer for different neighborhoods.
Better groomed parks.
I live in a Tenderloin, so I don't really necessarily want to go to that one.
Anyone know what this map is? Yes, it's San Francisco. Anyone know what those colors represent?
Fire probability?
Nope.
Dallas?
What's that?
Flooding?
Is that like they might sink?
What's that?
Flooding?
It might sink into the water? Or
No. Close. These are the liquefaction maps of San Francisco. So this is where, if you ever looked at San Francisco before buildings, it was mainly just sand and stuff. So this is all the landfill areas, right? So this is where the shaking is going to be the worst. Right? Yeah, it's amazing how much landfill we have here. All right. So we already answered this question, but anyone know the difference between the top fire hydrants and the bottom fire hydrants?
before the earthquake?
Nope. I mean, just the difference of what functions they serve.
The top one's fire department only, and then the bottom one's...
Water versus sand?
No.
Partial. So these up here are the high pressure fire hydrants. These are all tied to the reservoirs around the city. These are dedicated to fire, but you never drink out of these. It's funny, a few weeks ago I was telling people you could drink out of these blue ones, and I went to the fire department to ask, and I was wrong. They said, so if you see people drinking out of these, it's because they took my class. They so these do not. They just said that they just cleaned out those reservoirs after 100 years. So these things are nasty. Don't drink out of these. The bottom ones here are the low pressure water. These are tied to the sinks and whatnot around the city. I don't know what the blue dot ones are for. Got a little teardrop on them. Those are dedicated for water. So these are dedicated to drinking during an emergency. Okay, so you can tap into those, get your water. And if you had a jug and you run out, you can go get it. Anyone know what this gold one is?
Like Save the City or something?
On those, yeah. This is a little piece of San Francisco lore here. This is after the 1906 fires. It was the last fire hydrant to have water. It miraculously had water. We put out the last of the fires. It's on like 20th and Church, something like that. Anyone know what the green ones are? Anyone know what these are? Someone knows here. What these circles are in the city? You guys have seen those with the bricks? These are cisterns. These have somewhere between 70,000 to like 100,000 gallons of water underneath these. And they're all around the city. And if you see a green topped fire hydrant, that means it's somewhere tied to the cistern somewhere. So I think we have 70 some odd of these around the city, these cisterns. If you see them, they're not from streetcar. They are actually water underneath there.
How do you open them?
Wrench.
Wrench. So you should have a wrench then. Add to the
It's a good grip. So these freshwater ones, these maps are on the fire department website where these are. They're all around here. You guys have went up a couple on Lombard, Lombard, wherever the street is. I don't know. But they're all around the city. Again, there's 70 some odd of them if you need them. It's good to know where yours is close by.
Are they open to the public? Or are they going to be like not available to?
No, they're open. In the event of an emergency, they're open to the public. That's what they're there for.
Okay.
Ever know how to turn off your gas?
I don't have access to the gas in my apartment.
That's fine.
If you smell gas, okay, if there's an earthquake and it smells bad like gas, turn it off. If you don't smell gas, don't turn it off. Right? PG&E said after Loma Prieta, every earthquake turned the gas, and they were turning gas back on for months, and you'll be without hot water forever. Right? So unless you smell it, leave it alone. It should be fine. Right? That's just, I'm sorry, it's just a half turn. Get a wrench. Another reason to have a wrench. Right? Half turn turns it off. Okay. This one actually, it's funny enough, my dad, he's, Jim, you know I use your water heater, so I put it up. This is my first day of this class, this slide here. I don't know what this is. This is your hot water heater. I don't know how to get water out of it. So in the event of an emergency, you can drink the water out of here. Okay, but it's a few steps. Okay, first is you got to turn off your gas or electricity. Right, you're talking about electricity, gas, and metal, and then your hand. Right, so turn it off first. Right. Secondly, is you want to close the supply valve. Right, the supply that's coming in from the street, there'll be a yellow handle, usually in the back somewhere. Turn it off. Right. So what happens is if it's on, and for example you flush, water in your house. There's not water pumps around your house moving water around. It's all done by vacuum and flow and things like that. So if you flush your toilet, for example, it'll empty out and then it'll be backfilled with water from your hot water heater. Right? You could have 70 gallons of water in here if you have it available. So turn off the inflow supply. Open a faucet with the hot water so you can get so the vacuum air cleans out, and then you can attach a hose to the bottom here and you can get water out of there. Right? It's a good way to have some emergency water, which is clean. Right? You can drink that water. You drink it today. And then, anyone know how to read these? Everyone have seen these before? Katrina, usually. Anyone know how to read these things?
That means that emergency services has checked the house. It's been either evacuated or I think it says if someone died in there too, right?
Yep. So what happens is you go into a house and you take a can of spray paint and you put a single line and you say, I'm team 123 and I've gone in here at, let's say March 2nd at 10 o'clock. When you leave, you complete the X and you say, okay, is anyone dead or alive in here? And there are any hazmat issues, like is there a gas leak, things like that. So people know whether they can go in or not. Okay. All right. So questions, and then I'll have some closing thoughts. But any other questions on your kit or your plan? Is everyone going to email as soon as they get back to their desk? What are we going to do? Right? Simple as it gets. So, just a final thought here is, look, if something, like, no one knows what's going to happen, right? You don't know how big or how bad, right? You don't know what response is going to be like, and hopefully, man, nothing ever does, right? You don't want this stuff to happen. But if it does, and you can't get in touch with your friends and your family, you're hungry, you can't get food, you're stuck in a line somewhere, you don't know where to go to get help, you just made a bad situation worse, right? But if you do have a plan that says, okay, I can call my friends, get my family, we can get together, you can kind of huddle up, you got some food, water, supplies for a few days, right? You can kind of settle down, wait it out for a bit, and then you know where to get help, right? You know how to get water out of your hot water heater, you know what fire hydrants you can drink out of, you know where to go for the triage centers, right? From there, you can just figure it out, right? Again, who knows what it's going to look like? No one, all the plans are going to break down for sure, but just give yourself enough tools to figure it out, right? You do that by making a plan, having a kit, staying informed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.